wants to represent the interests of the working class, he should talk to a person who has a real job.
Justin Trudeau's housing minister, Sean Fraser, is taking a beating the last week. He's been publicly humiliated by Pierre Poilievre multiple times. Pierre calling him the worst housing minister ever put into the job.
The most incompetent immigration minister in Canadian history, and put him in charge of housing.
Numerous people like myself have called him a bonehead, an idiot, a fool, and everything under the sun, as well as many other creators have done the same. Vasi Kapellos has ripped him on CTV.
So far in the last 7 years, 11,000 units have been constructed. Is that really the evidence that should give them confidence that these other plans will work?
What you're about to see is Sean Fraser unhinged. This man finally showing some emotion, and he is a slippery, slimy snake. So I just want to set this up before we jump into the House of Commons here. So what happens is when they do these debates back and forth, they kind of queue up who's coming next. If someone queues up to put their question in, Pierre won't be able to launch back after a certain comment is made. And Sean Fraser knows this, and he uses this to his advantage. He gets a couple good licks on Pierre Poilievre, and then he does later on another Conservative, knowing full well that they can't say anything back. He is a rat. I just want to set that up before we jump in here. Let's get to the first clip.
This Prime Minister is not worth the cost. The results are in. He told us that if he massively increased debts and taxes, that someone else would pay for it. But of course, the Millionaire Trust Fund Prime Minister and his billionaire friends who invite him to private islands never pay a dime. It's always seniors, small businesses, and single mothers. Why would it be any different this time?
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, in this budget, like all others, we will take into account the economic context as well as the needs of Canadians. That means for millennials and Gen Z as well, we will unlock supply in housing. We will ensure there are supports for renters. We will make sure there's a national school food program, and Mr. Speaker, and on this side of the House, we will make sure we do that while maintaining a strong fiscal position, AAA credit rating, and the lowest debt to GDP ratio in the G7. Slogans don't make good policy, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, please, Anita.
The opposition.
Well, they've definitely proven that. Their slogan for the last 8 years is that you can double the debt and someone else will just pay the bill. But we know who pays every single time. It is welders and waitresses, seniors, small businesses, and single mothers who have faced doubling housing costs and unaffordable food. And now their solution is to do more of the same, to pour on billions of dollars more of inflationary spending that will drive up interest rates, inflations, and taxes. Why would we expect it to be any different this time?
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, on the contrary, our government has lifted 2.3 million Canadians out of poverty, and I would like to put it to the opposition, if they truly believe in supporting Canadians, why have they voted against the Canada Dental Benefit? Why have they voted against pharmacare? Why have they voted against $10 a day childcare, Mr. Speaker? That does not make sense, because slogans do not make good policy.
Nobody's using that dental program. It's a disgrace.
Except everything she just listed are slogans on which they have not delivered. What they have delivered is they've doubled the debt, which has caused the worst inflation in 40 years, interest rates rising faster than at any time in history, the doubling of housing costs, the worst growth in the G7, the worst housing price inflation in that same group of nations. And today, after all of these devastatingly costly results, what do? The same thing that got us in this problem in the first place. Why won't they realize that they're the problem and not the solution?
They don't care about us.
Minister for Housing, Infrastructure and Communities.
Mr. Speaker, the leader of the opposition has been masquerading across the country as a working class hero, but it's fascinating when you actually listen to what he thinks people do for a living. In a couple of recent speeches, he said he thinks electricians capture electricity from the sky and that welders weld with their bare hands. What's he going to tell me next? The fishermen in my community dive beneath the ocean and catch them with their bare teeth? Mr. Speaker, I can forgive the opposition leader for being a career politician who's been on the public dime for a couple of decades, but if he wants to represent the interests of the working class, he should talk to a person who has a real job.
That's slippery snake. So basically, the blocker queued up now, so Pierre can't snap back at him, and he knows that. That's why he used that opportunity to dig him with that pathetic attempt. Sean Fraser, you can tell, people hate him. They know he's a failure. He's a loser, and he's bad at his job. He should be fired. He would have been fired years ago. He's bad at every job he's had in the government. He's not even fit to dig a ditch. Like, he is an absolute loser. The only way to get a dig on Pierre is to do it when he doesn't have a chance to say anything back. That says a lot about that man. What is that, Fergus?
Hello?
Order.
Hello?
Hello?
Order,
Hello?
please.
This Fergus is so weird, man. You'll see here. Yeah, it goes over to French now.
Quebecers have been cheated.
Yeah, so we're gonna just skip past that. Next up here, we've got another clip where a conservative grills Sean Fraser, and he just kind of gives the same canned response. Oh, we're spending so much money. It's like, yeah, dude, you're not training any new builders. That's the problem. You can't just invent new builders by spending. You can't throw money at this problem of housing. You can't. It'll work for a small amount, but we don't have enough builders to build these houses. You guys have to cut immigration. Anyways, they're all corrupt for doing this. But the NDP jumps in here and just watch this other, he snaps back again.
Speaker, Indigenous people in Winnipeg make up nearly 75% of the unhoused population. Almost 90% are sleeping outdoors or living in encampments. The Liberals' inadequate response is costing lives. And the Conservative leader, he cut 8,000 affordable units when he was the minister in charge. Clearly not a Conservative priority. In today's budget, will the Liberals commit to increasing funding for affordable housing with rent geared to income and get serious about ending homelessness?
Mr. Speaker, I thank the honourable member for her concern, and she's right to point out the desperate need of so many communities across the country when it comes to building more affordable housing. She's right to point out the need for increased investment to support the needs of Indigenous people who remain unhoused. That's why we put more than $4 billion on the table to support the needs of Indigenous peoples in community, and an additional $4.3 billion to deal with the needs of Indigenous peoples who live in urban, rural, and northern environments. On top of that, Mr. Speaker, we've invested more than $120 million to build thousands of homes in her city. We're going to keep doing what we need to build more affordable housing. And one point of correction, it was 800,000 units that the opposition leader lost while he was housing minister.
He's so bitter, man. This loser is so bitter. He's doing such a bad job. He's just such an absolute failure. And that's all he can do is throw those zingers out. This is guy, he's afraid of using the word homeless. He's, unhoused. Oh, the First Nations, they're unhoused. Just say it as it is, man. You failed them. You failed Canada. You failed First Nations. You failed all Canadians. You're an absolute loser and disgrace. Period. So you can see here it jumps over to a Liberal that was queued up. So it's like, that's all Sean Fraser does. He just waits until he can get his last word in. Next up, we got a clip here from Conservative Stephen Ellis. He's the guy who, he said he was a physician and then he diagnosed Trudeau as a narcissist. In this clip here, he's grilling the failed dental plan of Mark Holland.
Speaker, the costly NDP Liberal coalition have announced another poorly conceived federal idea. Their dental care debacle is failing Canadians. I have one simple question. How many dentists in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and PEI have signed up for the dental care debacle?
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Well, it's great news, Mr. Speaker, because unlike the member opposite, we're working with dental providers and we're opening up a new portal, which means that in order to participate, all they have to do is accept that dental card and provide service. And the dentists that I'm talking to as we work through these issues in the negotiation are extremely excited to do what the member is not, which is to make sure that every Canadian from coast to coast to coast gets oral health care. And that means 1.8 million seniors and soon 9 million Canadians who will have the oral health care that they need.
I don't know, Mark Holland was about to go berserk there.
I ask the honourable member from Oxford, please, to allow his colleague to ask a question and allow the minister to answer. The honourable member from Cumberland Colchester.
Well, interesting enough, the Minister of Health of the NDP Liberal government has been singing the praises and photo ops of this program for months now. Their plan is lacking and it's failing Canadians. One simple question once again to the minister. How many dentists in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and PEI have signed up for the botched care announcement? I'll actually give him the answer. It's 8 out of 1,107.
Talk about a failed program.
Mr. Speaker, the member opposite knows that we're opening a new portal and that members don't have to sign up, that all that needs to happen is they bring their card and they participate in the program. But here's the truth, Mr. Speaker.
Another failure. That's all the Liberals are, a bunch of losers.
Honourable members to please restrain themselves.
Mr. Speaker, the truth is that they don't want about 9 million Canadians who don't have dental care to get service. They don't want or believe that Canadians who don't have access to diabetes medication to get it. They don't want, Mr. Speaker, for women to be able to get access to universal contraception. So they push despair because they don't want people to hope for something better. Well, we're there to deliver something better.
Oh, there it is. He was starting to go berserk. He was going over the edge. One more exchange there. Mark Holland, Mr. Minister of Death there, would have fully gone into a rage and started flipping tables. These guys are all losers. The failed programs. I mean, look at all of them, right? Obviously, the housing. We've got Mark Holland with his dental plan, the MAID program. You look at Jenna Suds with her daycare program. They're all failed plans. Like, where do they find these people? That's the main highlights from this session. Now let's jump over to a few other clips. A few other things I found here on X. So 10 minutes south of Edmonton. Whose land is this on? So this person did not like this. This is not who Albertans are. It doesn't matter how big you push your hate. They don't like this. Rebel News, Trudeau is coming to censor you. We're fighting back. Join us at stopthecensorship.ca. They blew up that blackface Trudeau. So next up, we got a clip here. This is from Dubai, and I just thought I'd show this because this is kind of crazy. You think about what's going on with the weather and modifying it. So in Dubai, they cloud seed. They put, what's it called? Silver iodide. It's like these things that shoot off of planes and they fly around, and then it basically causes it to rain more. And it even says here, right, cloud seeding are chemicals that are sprayed in the clouds to create rain. And we recently banned this practice in my home state of Tennessee. Anytime you modify the weather, you open yourself to unintended consequences. So this looks like a ship. This is an airport. This is an airport. Look at this. What the heck, man? That is just something so bizarre that you can actually alter the weather. That's Dubai. That's why if you look at certain areas of Dubai, like I think right in the downtown city area, they keep cloud seeding it so they get lots of rain there and it's lush. It's just bonkers. They've overdone it. Now they have got too much water on their airport there. Next up, we got this clip here, which everyone's got to see this. So basically it says a message from a dying grandmother to Justin Trudeau. I'll let her, instead of reading it off here, I'll let her speak for herself here.
Well, folks, the doctors told me that I'm on my way out, meaning I'm dying. And you know what? I'm so damn happy that I'll finally get Justin Trudeau out of my life. Well, folks,
that's her message. That is legendary. That's absolutely legendary. Even on her deathbed, this grandma knows the truth. She lived a long life to see the damage weak leaders can do. Time for strong, decisive action to take back control. Wow, it's sad but funny at the same time. She got a sense of humor. And to wrap up this video, we've got this. What are we looking at here? What's a beaver? And this caption here, only in Canada, a beaver blocking the Tim Hortons drive-through. Get a close-up look at the beaver there. Yeah, that's definitely a beaver. And folks, if you ever see a beaver, don't go near them. They can run very fast and they can chop your leg off pretty darn quick because they bite through trees. And they have diseases, so stay away from beavers. They're actually very, very dangerous. but they're kind of cute and funny, and they're one of our national animals. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about Sean Fraser. He's becoming unhinged. He's been just complete white bread the whole time, just vanilla, stiff as a board. He doesn't like being called a loser, and he's been called that by Pierre Poilievre, and he's becoming unhinged. So stay tuned here. I'm curious to see what happens in these House of Commons sessions going forward. I can't see him becoming more tame and toned down. He's probably just going to get more and more amped up, like the Minister of Death, Mark Holland. You know, berserk mode. He's always got berserk mode ready to go there. He nearly blew a gasket today. So thanks for watching the video. I greatly appreciate all of you. Be sure to subscribe. We'll keep fighting for freedom. I'll see you guys on the next one.